So I'm in Albertsons right now. There are cameras here. There are voices talking in my head saying they're Egyptian American Muslim terrorists. Okay, terrorists. It has nothing to do with them being Muslim. They're fucking terrorists. They're using the name of Islam in their. It's because it's on their birth certificates or their parents' birth certificates. These are what it sounds like to me after 6 years of listening to these fucking psycho tramps. Women in particular, in my head, they were born here in America, raised in California. They're talking in my fucking head saying that they've murdered, they've raped, they've stole, they've lied, they're frauds, they're all, and they're just talking in my head, pretending as though to investigate me. And so they're talking in my head, but unless there are cameras, okay, if considering these weapons are classified and there's a breach of contract if they were to come forward, and like there's all these like layers to it, so they take advantage of the situation. And if you don't know how to conduct yourself, then these terrorists can basically abuse you and murder you and get away with it. So I just want to make it clear that they're nowhere here, but they're still talking. So they have like little weak spots in their little in their tactics to abuse and torture and traffic these whoever they're calling suspects to crimes or whatever they said to investigate me, and for whatever reason. But there are little soft spots you can poke out, and they have to talk all the time. All the time. That's a soft spot. So all I do is I make sure that wherever I go, there are cameras. So if ever they go to request these records or try to get back behind the records to investigate someone else, to make claims like, oh, I have, I want to, because of something that happened within the timeline that they were investigating me, then they can say, well, why didn't you pull those records to make it obvious why? Because now obviously the government knows that they can do this, and they've been after them for quite some time, but people are so broken inside, they don't realize what's going on. And they're actually like arguing with these terrorists, trying to like prove a point, which is like, is so far beyond you. You just go seek medical attention. You tell the police department that you hear voices in your head that sound like terrorists. Stop playing. It's voices in your head. That's all there is to it. They're voices in your head, and they're torturing you, and that's that. And stop messing around. So, because the voices are coupled with commands and blah blah blah, and it gets sticky. So best way to handle it is to say the voices in your head, and the voices specifically are torturing you. So when they go look at your records, they can see every time you heard a voice, okay? Specifically the ones in your head are causing you like disorganized thoughts, or blacking out, or they're emotionally stimulating you, or whatever the case is. They'll see it specifically, those voices, and nothing that has to do with your surrounding. Just make sure you're always in front of a camera, because it starts to destroy their argument, plus the things that they're saying in your head, they're actually disclosing, because they have a whole organization of these terrorists, and they're all doing the same things, and there are ways to manipulate it and say, based on who's missing on the map, they can say this person was responsible versus this one, blah blah blah. So to make matters easy for their little terrorist ring, just in case, because there is money involved, they've assigned each other these voices, okay? And they're specific, so that it's not like anyone's voice. It has to be a very specific, it has to be like an original voice, because they're afraid that if it's like someone else's voice, like for example my mom's voice, and my mom's on everyone's record, right? And she's then it's like they can still play games with that. So it has to be an original voice. So these terrorists are using these original voice prints to talk inside your head that aren't like they're no one's voices. They've just made them. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, they're talking in my head. And when they're saying things, even when they're torturing me, it's all disclosing something about something they're doing outside of what they're doing to you, because there are several of them, and it sounds like they have one location where they disclose everything to about everyone in that circle that's working, this zone or this territory or these people in this particular network, or whatever the case is. They've been designated certain networks, and those within those networks, they have like 5 or 6 of these terrorist people groups or whatever, and they're all assigned to that one network, and they work together. So instead of like burning up all their spots, they sit and they'll talk in one person's head, and they'll disclose everything they've been doing to all the others. So hush, keep quiet so you can hear what they're saying. Make sure you're always in front of cameras so they can't make claims that they're doing, that it's outside. Don't play around. These terrorists are sick in the head. I want them sentenced to death.